And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
And thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love helping you win in any marketplace, helping you with all of your different buying decisions relating to business, finance, your home, all the things circle around that real estate wheel, those spokes on the wheel, kind of extending out, representing our attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, all types of great expert contributors. We have Ray Hall in studio with us today as well. Ray Hall Appraisals. He's a local real estate economist in a sense where, hey, we're going to look at the market. We're going to dive into the market today. We're going to talk about absorption rates, months supply of inventory, and kind of let you know what we're seeing in Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco. We've got all of that teed up for you today. Also, Ron Fuller in studio, Tri-County Metals. We're going to talk with him about his awesome company. Gunnar Branecki rounding out our expert contributor panel with Guardian Protection, home automation and protection and security. With Gunnar coming up here on the program. Quick shout out to our restaurant partner, Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance, very friendly wait staff, and we love going over there for our gratitude parties as well. Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall. Say hello to Chef Oscar. He is the best. He does a great job. Delicious food, and they also have daily happy hours over there. Getting a lot of bang for your buck there. I think the burgers for like $5-7, something like that over there at the happy hour. Brio Tuscan Grill. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, a couple of hot listings here. 221 Howard Drive, multi-million-dollar listing from the Platinum MVP team. 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3,463 square foot single-family home, exclusive Bel Air Beach location, 221 Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach. You have a gorgeous 3-island kitchen, Thermador appliances, saltwater pool, 100 feet of water frontage there, deep water access. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, enjoy that Florida lifestyle to the fullest. That waterfront Florida lifestyle to the fullest. 221 Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach, Florida. Beautiful listing from the Platinum MVP team. 8107 Sierra Manor Lane. I love this property, Sierra Manor Lane. This is a great opportunity. One of my favorite listings of all times, really. I mean, look at this home. You've got over an acre of land here, Ray. I want you to comment on this one. 3,600 plus square feet. You have over an acre of land. You've got 443, so 4 beds, 4 bath, 3-car garage, 2-story single-family home, 8107 Sierra Manor Lane. Now, you have 130 feet of private water frontage on the upper Tampa Bay. So take your boat to jet skis, take your boats to lunch and dinner over there at all the cool restaurants. 6,000-pound boat lift, direct access to upper Tampa Bay. Now, Ron's going to like this too. Ron's in studio, Ron Fuller with Tri-County Metals. You have a 65-year warranty on this metal roof here. 2023 metal roof on this beautiful luxury home. $1 million listing from the Platinum MVP team. But what's also cool, there's only 3 houses in that whole little gated community. So you have over an acre of land. Isn't that, when you think about appraisal on something like that, do you have a certain amount of uniqueness there, right?
Absolutely. And, waterfront properties always go for the premium. Obviously, they've done a lot of nice updates to that house. I'm a huge fan of metal roofs. You want a durable roof, metal roof is the way to go. I always recommend that to people. Yeah. And when you get into these unique communities, you say there's 3 houses. That's really kind of a plus because people like that. You know, people like feeling special, going home and they just have a couple neighbors and I mean, bay access, that's absolutely huge. Yeah. So I didn't see a picture of the view. I'm sure it's got a gorgeous view of the water from the backyard. Yep. So, that's definitely going to be, one of your high-end properties and probably well worth the money.
And that's a conservation view too. So you think about that, right? So you have no backyard neighbor. You say, hard to say never, ever, ever, but, potentially ever no backyard neighbor there when you buy in something like that. But very cool, right? I mean, that's another added bonus, right? That's another, when you think about appraisals, you're basically grossing up for that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's that, in properties like that, when we're appraising, we're looking for comparables with similar features. Yeah. You never want to have a home with a bay frontage, and then I go pull a residential lot and say, yeah, this is similar. It's not. We're always trying to do, apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Which in a house like that works in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't work in people's favor, but it is the steps we have to take to come up with that accurate value.
Yeah, exactly. And how long you been doing appraisals now?
Oh, it's just over 20 years now.
20 years.
Yeah, I know. I don't look that old, right?
I know. But none of us do. I'm like, hey, man, we're aging better than maybe prior generations did. I don't know. Maybe it's the facial cream. I don't know. Every night I put my facial cream on.
Exactly. But yeah, started in 2004, so still at it.
And you are also kind of, like you're a pilot as well. So you got your pilot license. That's not a paying gig. That's more of a fun gig, right?
That's a very fun gig. That's weekends I can go up in a plane, and one of my favorite things to do is fly over I-4 and look at that traffic and know that I could be in Plant City in 10 minutes.
Wow, Strawberry Festival coming up.
It is.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah. Well,
I'd love to get out there.
It gets busy during the when they do Son of Fun out of Lakeland. One of the they put a temporary tower in the Plant City Airport.
Oh wow!
And it becomes a very, very busy place, as Tampa Executive does as well.
That's the hub there.
But it's definitely a fun hobby. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Get down to the Keys yet? You fly down that way?
I haven't. I've been so busy. With the business is starting to pick up again, the appraisal business.
Yeah.
I've got an investment property I'm working on that we've discussed. So, man, I've got no time these days.
Yeah.
So I just took my family on a ski trip last weekend. So.
Sweet.
I work really hard, and I'm trying to enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to, man. You really do. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, was to fish more. I got to get out there and fish more.
Absolutely.
Make it a priority.
You live on a lake, man.
Yeah, right. Bass fishing and stuff like that is fun, but it's not quite as – I like getting offshore, getting some nice, grouper and snapper, things like that. But if you just joined us, we're talking with Ray Hall, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Ray Hall Appraisals. He's an expert on all things valuation when you look at, valuing different types of real estate properties, vacant land, commercial, residential, development deals, development projects. Some interesting stats here. I've got the latest stats. Let's jump right into it. Speaking of stats, let's look at Hillsborough County, the largest county here, of course, in Tampa Bay area. One of the largest in the southeast United States as well, Hillsborough County. Here's the latest stats. So I'm going to go over the numbers, and then I'll have Ray kind of comment on them and see what he thinks. So you have total of listings now. These are Hillsborough County non-distressed. So we pulled out on this list here. We pulled out any REOs and short sale activity. That's very minor anyways right now, right?
Yeah,
Ray?
There's still not a whole lot, and that's one of the signs that the market, maybe it's not as robust as it used to be a couple of years ago, but when you don't have, the high numbers of foreclosures and REOs, it means you still have a fairly secure market.
I mean, the numbers are so small, it's less than 1%. It's super insignificant.
Yeah, it's very small.
So here's what you got. Total active listings, Hillsborough County, 5,898. Let's call it 59 for argument's sake here. Okay. 5,900 active listings. Divide that out by the solds. That was 1,069. That gives us an 18% absorption rate. And I want you to describe what absorption rate is, Ray, but also put an asterisk beside it. 18.1 absorption rate. That's a new low. Yeah.
The absorption rate is basically the rate at which the inventory gets sold off.
Okay.
Going from, that to zero. We deal a lot with absorption rates when we're appraising residential developments. So it's how long is it going to take that developer to sell all the units?
Yes.
So that's what we're looking at with absorption. Yeah. And, like I said, we still have a good market. And those statistics you're looking at, that's probably from the past 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of lagging. And,
exactly.
And that's what we have to deal with.
Yep.
But remember, now we're going into the spring, which is, you and I both know, that's the busy time in the real estate market. Now is when we're going to see those improvements.
Yep.
I had mentioned, I have a property in Palm Harbor that I'm fixing up, and those houses have been sitting on the market because of the hurricanes, because of the holidays. All those properties have been sitting there doing nothing. Now all of a sudden, one got sold, 3 are under contract. all within 30 days.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of seeing that switch to the spring market. So I bet you those statistics you're looking at are going to be a lot better even next month. Should
be getting a lot better, yeah. And if you continue that thought process, so we went 5,900 divided by the 1069, 1,100, call it. Mm-hmm. That's the 18.1% absorption rate. Now, if you calculate that on out with the 100 there, you divide it by 100. That's 5.5 months supply of inventory. I want you to explain that for me. And by the way, put an asterisk there too, because that's a new high.
So that's how many months it's going to take to sell off that inventory
at the current buying rate.
Yep.
And that's a new high. What does that say to you, or is it kind of similar to what you just said? We're going in the spring. We're going to be selling more in the spring.
Right. Again, you just had 2 hurricanes, which is unheard of for this area. So in other words, that's the highest amount of time it's been taken to sell off the inventory.
Yep.
But also remember, we're coming off a couple of years where it was the lowest.
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't, if your house was on the market for more than 7 days, you're wondering what was wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a little higher now. Yes. Is it bad? No. You're still under 6 months, which is positive. Now, you're pushing it, but.
Yep, you're a balanced market. You're in a balanced market. You hardly ever hear people talk about a balanced market, right? 5 to 7. It's normally, it's a buyer's market. Is it a seller's market? What are we at? We're in a balanced market right now, which is very rare. People don't understand. But I'm glad you brought up the hot season. So that was March of 22. We call that the high point, the high water mark. No pun intended. Right? So March of 22, there were 1,118 active listings, and remember I told you that in Hillsborough County, as of last month, there were 5,900 active listings. That's a difference of 4,780 listings. Yeah. And I know it's kind of hard to do math over the radio, but that's a lot of listings. That's a big, almost 5,000 different. So in other words, too, another way to say it is, and when I teach the classes at the different boards and the realtor organizations, there's 5 times more options for buyers today than there were in March of 22.
Exactly. And again, you really can't compare markets to 2022. If you're dealing with statistics, that was an outlier.
Yeah.
No, 1,100 active listings, that's not much at all.
That's for a whole county. What's countywide population then going to be roughly Hillsborough County?
Millions.
Yeah, in the millions. It's between 1 and 3 million.
Something like that.
Something like that. Right?
You have the city of Tampa. So, we can't look at that now and go, oh, that's it. Market's crashing. That's it. No, it's called coming to normalcy.
Yeah.
1,000, 1,100 active listings is not normal. And the reason why it was so low was because they were selling as quickly as they could get on the market.
Yeah.
I remember going to an appraisal and showing up, and the house was listed for $750,000, and the realtor told me, "Look, they're offering $830,000 because they don't want a bidding war. There's, the appraisal's not going to be a problem. Just do whatever you have to do."
Mm.
I mean, can you imagine offering $80,000 over asking? Just because you don't want to be in a bidding war, you're not going to see that now.
I had it happen too over in Gulf Harbors.
Did you?
I had one. It was $1 million listing, and it sold for 100 plus over the ask price. And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome. Let's get that on video." I got a nice testimonial at the closing table on that one.
Yeah, I'd love to be that person.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to get the best deals I can.
Talk about timing, though. It really comes down to timing.
It comes down to timing, and it comes down to just market conditions. So I don't think 5,000 active listings is all that bad.
Yeah.
Is it as good as 2022? No, and you're not going to see as good as it was in 2022 for quite a while.
Yeah, good for sellers. When you say good, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's good for buyers right now.
But it's good for everybody because you don't, those extremely good markets, can't last forever.
Yeah, it's balanced.
Right.
That's why we're calling it a balanced market, right? Let's face it. Hey, look, if there's a seller out there that really wants to sell, their property's been on the market for, call it 90 days, that's when you start really thinking, wow, what's going on here? Why am I not getting, 90 days, 120 days? And it varies on price point, of course.
Yeah.
$800,000 homes, there's less buyers there than there are $300,000 homes.
Exactly.
But yeah, when you look at all these different factors, it's really is interesting to see it and to kind of break it down and see that. And that's what you're doing every day as your appraisal company.
That's what I got to do. I got to analyze those markets. We run a lot of statistical data. We have to run statistics for market conditions, adjustments, when we're, estimating that opinion of value. So, we're crunching a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I'm pulling, 3-4 spreadsheets out of the MLS just to get my reports going.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of data out there. There's a lot, and, if you're trying to figure something out, talk to someone who's experienced in analyzing that data.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't go off what you're reading on social media when everybody wants to say. I mean, I have friends of mine who, keep talking about that crash in market, but they were talking about that crash in market back in 2019.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, talk to professionals. There's a lot of data out there, as you've shown today, and just, kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and you got to have a plan. I mean, and going back to my example, when that home's aging on the market, you're going to have buyers being able to get seller concessions. You're going to get a little bit better of negotiation tactics and strategies. You're going to have deals accepted that you may not thought they would accept, but hey, that need to move out of the state or closer to the beach, closer to grandma, closer to work. All of those different scenarios come into play, and we're going to help you negotiate those with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got Ray Hall in studio. Ray Hall Appraisals. More with him here in just a moment. Also coming up, Ron Fuller, Tri-County Metals in the house. Feel-good story of the day. We love to tell you something positive here. Here's our feel-good. Teen with rare tumor gets marathon facial surgery, delivering results in 7 hours instead of several years. Feel-good story coming up. Consumer Quarterback Show. ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, Brandon BRimes here. Did you know that we buy houses cash? We will close quickly and give you a fair offer on your home or residential properties, even commercial properties, and we will give you a fair cash offer, close quickly, and be diligent when you're shopping these types of scenarios, because a lot of the wholesalers, the flippers out there, they will sign you up on an as-is contract, and they will shop that contract and try to find a buyer, but they may not find the buyer, and they won't close. So this is Brandon BRimes, 813-917-1894, ConsumerQB.com. Brandon BRimes, we buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. That is my direct cell. You can call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at KW.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon BRimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
And we're back. Brandon BRimes, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team. We're talking with Ray Hall Appraisals here on the show, talking about the real estate market. He also offers a owner's use appraisal if you're out there, and I'll let him describe that. A lot of times owners want to sell or are thinking about selling, but they just, a little hesitant. They're not sure what the value is. They don't know if they trust a realtor doing a CMA. Ray opens up his services to our audience for what he calls an owner's use appraisal. I'll let him describe that in just a moment. A couple of hot listings here. 455 US Alt 19. This one's 151. Unit number 151, Alt 19. This is Harbor Club. You've got great amenities there. A couple of pools, tennis and basketball courts. 2-2, ground floor, 898 square foot, single family home, condo that is, right in the heart of Palm Harbor. Open living and dining area, complete with custom built-in shelving. 455 Alternate 19, Palm Harbor, Florida, number 151. 1905 Masters Way, another beautiful listing. This one's East Hillsborough County. You got a split floor plan, beautiful home, motivated seller here, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2 car garage, 29 square foot, single family home, 0.38 acre lot with no backyard neighbors, Florida room, expansive windows, split floor plan, beautiful property, great opportunity to own real estate, large lot, 0.38 acre lot, no backyard neighbors either. Great opportunity in Walden Lakes. You have walking trails, dog park, playground, sports complex, and access to the lake for non-motorized vehicles. Check out 1905 Masters Way in beautiful Plant City. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, we would love to talk to you. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, we got Ray Hall in the house with us. Ray, did you want to describe what that owner's use is?
Sure. It's just what's called a restricted use appraisal. It's a very basic appraisal, but if you're just looking for, just a little guidance on whether you want to sell or not, whether you want to do some renovations, something like that, it's a great tool for a homeowner. And, it's not the big, thick report that we give to banks. A lot of that information that we report to the banks for the lender appraisals, the homeowner already knows. You don't need me to show you where your bedroom is. You already know.
To sketch it out.
Exactly. You don't need me to sketch it out for you. So it's a very basic appraisal, but, you're still getting that opinion of value. It's still certified by an appraiser and, still a very accurate, opinion of market value.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it. And, it really helps us out, too, sometimes in real estate when you're, taking a listing. Commercial listings sometimes get a little bit, difficult when you're looking at different data sources to try to access all that. But, Ray's helped us out over the years big time, really very helpful with that. All right, real estate market update, Ray Hall. What's your thoughts on the market in general or, anything else you're seeing out there?
Seeing some improvements. Again, after the hurricanes, the market really kind of stopped. There wasn't a whole lot of sales going on. There was a lot of houses sitting on the market, and I'm starting to see some movement again. Again, we're going into those spring months now. Well, it's Florida; it's always spring, but we're going into March now, and this is the times. If you're looking to buy and looking to sell, this is the time to get out there. Yeah, because this has always been the great time of year for real estate in Florida.
Yeah, and if you're waiting to put your home on the market, the challenge is there is that you're going to have more inventory come on the market potentially, right? Yes. So it depends. We're going back to that absorption rate. It depends on if the buyers are going to outweigh the new listers.
Right, and that's, like right now out in the beach areas, you've got a lot of houses that are getting renovated. Yeah. And that means a lot of houses are going to go on the market, and that's going to impact what those sale prices are going to be. Yeah. Because, this guy wants to sell before this guy, so he's going to lower his price to beat this guy out. And you're going to have, we used to have the bidding wars. Well, now, it's going to be almost like a sales war. Yeah. Now that's not going to be everywhere. That's where there was a lot of damage and a lot of movement in the real estate and a lot of changes going on. Yeah. You come up by where I live up in North Tampa, 2 days after the hurricane, you wouldn't think anything ever went through it. Right. So, don't hear what I'm saying and think that's what's happening everywhere. But that's an example of how inventory impacts the market.
Right. Yeah, real estate is so local. There's so many pockets and areas that are affected. You can't judge one by the other in for sure in that sense. And that is an interesting point that we're at. What do you think about some of these flooded homes? Of course, there's a lot of disclosure required. What's your thoughts in general about some of these properties? There's opportunity there.
Absolutely. I'm dealing with one right now myself. Yeah. There were people whose houses got flooded and, certainly repairable, as long as the proper steps were taken, but they just didn't want to deal with it. Yeah. So it was just, hey, I'm going to take my insurance and I'm going to go somewhere else. So, right. I took advantage of an opportunity myself and I'm working on that now. Yep. It's definitely a process. It's not as easy as I was hoping, but, yes. There are opportunities out there. And if you are an investor and you are looking to get into it, it's definitely a lot of work but involved, but there's a lot of reward at the end.
And the number one thing to think about is you make money on the buy side.
Absolutely.
You got to buy it right.
Negotiate. Yeah. The best advice I ever heard, and I always say it to people, is if your offer isn't embarrassing, then you offer too much.
Yeah, exactly. You almost want to be in that position because and again, that's another area you can't really just say a blanket number, but it's going to be somewhere around 50%, depending on the area, depending on the condition. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be.
You've got to know how to calculate renovation costs. There's a lot to it, and if you're dealing with hard money lenders and different kinds of lenders, you got to factor all that in there. So it's a process.
Time value of money.
Absolutely.
Cost of funds.
100%.
Ray Hall Appraisals. Check them out online, rayhallappraisals.com, rayhallappraisals.com. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Yep, absolutely. All right, coming up, we're talking with Ron Fuller. He's in studio with us, Tri-County Metals. We're going to talk with him. Also, our feel-good story. We always love to tell you something positive, brighten up your day a little bit. Injection of good story, good news. Teen with rare tumor gets marathon facial surgery, delivering results in 7 hours instead of several years. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking with Ray Hall in last segment. Ron Fuller in studio this segment. Now we're going to talk with him about some really interesting topics, and it's relating to inspecting, making sure when you put a roof on, what does it need to look like and what needs to happen, because it's properly vented roofing can cost you thousands of dollars if you're not doing that properly. Also. We're going to talk about this SNAP school food, the MAHA movement with RFK. That's going to be interesting content, because when you hear some of these stats, you're going to be amazed with that. So Ron Fuller in studio with us. A couple of hot listings, we'll jump into it. 1758 Winfield Circle. This is a beautiful listing in Clearwater. This one's a large home, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath. 2-car garage, lighter color on the interior. People really love that. Lighter colors now. Buyers love that. The kitchen is lighter color cabinets, beautiful flooring, and you have a large center bar there. Just I love that bar. 2746 square feet, 0.36 acre lot, and no HOA. 6 miles from Clearwater Beach. 1758 Winfield Circle, Clearwater, Florida. Another beautiful listing from the Platinum MVP team. All right, we got some dirt up in Highway 27, Ocala. This one's 12255 North US Highway 27. 3 acres of land. Zoning is A1. You can build your dream home there, establish a world-class horse farm, that is. Prestigious Golden Ocala Country Club around the corner. Serene privacy and a vibrant equestrian lifestyle. Great opportunity at 12255 North US Highway 27, Ocala, Florida. And we sell vacant land, commercial, residential properties. We can help you selling, buying, or investing. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com. All right, Ron Fuller back in studio with us. Tri-County Metals, welcome in, sir.
Brandon, I hope your ears weren't burning last week, but Logan from Gulf Shield Roofing and I were talking about you.
Yeah, I love it, man.
He's a great guy. We put together a nice metal package for him. He does really good work. But we're just talking about how much we enjoy you. And, I'm excited to talk about this food stuff because you know me. You and I go back a ways.
Yeah.
And I'm all about healthy eating. But a lot of interesting things to talk about, including proper ventilation. There's a lot that we can talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I like that, because I think a lot of times people just they trust their home inspector, they trust the builder, especially on new construction. They're trusting the builder a little bit too much. And it's okay. It's like Reagan said, though, trust but verify. Mm-hmm. Let's verify. So you had an interesting story that happened with one of your clients or situation. Tell us about that, because I think it tees it up nicely.
Yeah, actually, it's on my personal home. I hired an inspector, and I did what I shouldn't have done. I did a 360 walk around on my roof and said it looks good. And there's things I looked for, and everything that I could see I was happy with. And I trusted the inspector to take care of the rest. He got up in the attic. Not an inspection team on your fine show. So not one of yours. Anyway, I was up in my attic and putting away some things, and I noticed something missing. And this is what folks need to always look for. When you're up in your attic, look for daylight. I didn't see any daylight, so I have a ridge vent in my home, and they never cut out the vent.
Yeah.
So what's called the underlayment, which is underneath your metal or your shingle or your tile roof, the underlayment's really the product that's waterproofing your home. And it's got to be cut out or you're getting no ventilation.
Yeah.
So my home hadn't been getting ventilated for 2 years.
Wow.
And my poor air conditioner must have been working real hard. So that's the thing you've got to, either take upon yourself or, unfortunately, remind your inspector, say, hey, I need you to look in that attic. There was one thing that he looked for, and that's to make sure that your dryer vent is properly installed, because that's also a common thing. Yeah. Typically, your dryer vent's going to run through your attic.
Right.
And a lot of times those jokers are disconnected or just not connected well, or sometimes clogged. He can't really check visually for a clog, but you want to check visually to make sure your vent is properly connected. And typically, that's something you wouldn't know. Your attic would just be pouring in the heat every time your dryer's running. So you may not know until you really notice a problem.
Yeah.
But so it's critical. There's several types of venting. If you have a shingle roof, there's an off-ridge vent or what's called a ridge vent. Ridge vent being at the very highest point. Depending on the gables and the hips of your roof, you may or may not have enough linear feet to run a ridge vent. But if you do, that's one of the preferred styles. Or you'll see these 4-foot off-ridge vents, which are these metal boxes. But you want to make darn sure that the underlayment underneath has been cut out, which was the problem with my home.
Yeah. So if you can picture the roof, you've got the ridge vents up there, and they're going to have a little bit of a kind of a lip over them, right? That's going to let the water run, but then the air can come in and exit, but the water can't. So that's what you're talking about. Yes. And if you're not having that, then your attic, like you said, your poor air conditioning was working overtime.
Oh, yes.
Because that attic's going to get over 130 degrees or 100 more than that maybe.
More, yeah,
it's
more
up there,
than
right?
that. It's up there. So your attic needs ventilation. It needs to have some airflow because you'll get mildew. You get mold. You have things you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
So your attic can be 140, 150 degrees real easily.
Wow.
And that ventilation is critical. It almost, in fact, there's one thing that I can say when you get a new roof is one of the improvements that's going to happen is your ventilation is going to be brought up to code.
Okay.
So basically, if you have a home built 10, 15 years ago, it's time for a new roof. That roofer is going to re-nail your decking. So there's going to be additional nails added to the decking, which is fantastic. And also they're going to upgrade, or I should say update, your ventilation.
Yeah.
And that means more airflow. They're going to cut in more of those off-ridge vents, or perhaps give you a ridge vent that is not only is that the most efficient because heat rises.
Yep.
And that's the highest point in your roof, Brandon, but also it's the most visually appealing.
Right.
Because it's not quite invisible, but it's real close to invisible. It's at the highest peak of your roof, and it's almost like a little capped area. There's plastic on the side, and that's open for ventilation.
Yeah.
But you actually have your shingles on top of that ridge vent.
Yep.
So it blends beautifully. The off-ridge vents are boxes that have to be painted. The paint doesn't always last in Florida, and they're 4 foot wide, and they're much more of a visually less attractive.
Yeah. Ron Fuller in studio with us, TriCountyMetals.com. Check him out online, TriCountyMetals.com. And Ron works with other roofers out there. So if you have a friend, a family member, somebody who did your last roof, put them in touch with Ron. You'd probably save them some money when it comes to the metals that they're buying for those metal roofs. TriCountyMetals.com. Ron Fuller in studio. Ron, there's so much optimism in the market. We talked about last time with just in general speaking, with all of the money found, all the fraud, waste, and abuse. But I thought this was an interesting clip that we'll play now because it's something that we've all kind of thought about and we've seen and we've talked about. But it's nice to see that there's something finally being done.
Into SNAP, are they okay with us using their tax dollars
school lunches
to feed really bad food and sugary drinks to children who perhaps need something more nutritious?
RFK has also signaled that SNAP will be reformed, as well as federally subsidized school lunches.
We shouldn't be giving 60% of the kids in school processed food that is making them sick.
In fiscal year 2023, the government spent more than $112 billion on SNAP and about $17 billion on the National School Lunch Program. Also relating to school policy, HHS now officially recognizes only 2 genders, which is in line with previous executive orders regulating female sports and medical policy.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 gender thing, that's just, it's like common sense galore. But you think about $112 billion, that's spent on these school lunches. And I mean, gosh, couldn't it be spent a lot better than that, right?
SNAP, here's what's sad about that. The kids that are using SNAP are doing it for financial reasons, and we're feeding them garbage. Yeah. We're feeding them chemicals. We're feeding them things that, brain development. There's a lot of evidence out there that additives aren't good for the mind.
Sure.
The brain is plastic. It's growing. In men, it's not done until you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
So these teenagers are putting garbage in their bodies. It's heartbreaking. There's so much fraud and abuse in our government. It's really despicable.
Yeah, it really is. Over the years, all these politicians, shame on them. And I forgot which congressman it was, but there was one of them that said, you know what? There's a lot of people going to have red faces when this crooked politicians get caught, and they follow the paper trail back to the House of Representatives, back to the Senate. And you might see a rash of resignations or something like that too. Who knows, right?
Absolutely. And some of our food companies, the very same product in Europe, for example,
yes,
has a completely different ingredient list than it does here in America.
Exactly.
The food dyes. There's other additives. There's so many. I buy a lot of whey protein powders.
Yep.
And I have to read through those. You can't even assume that what you're buying, quote, in a health food store is necessarily good for you. You've got to be a label reader.
Yeah.
But our poor kids, Brandon, in elementary school, middle school, high school, those kids aren't reading ingredient list. They're just going down the line with that plastic tray, and we're slopping garbage and chemicals. That's really sad.
It really is. It really is. And my wife has taken it. She's been pretty, healthy, very healthy with a vegetarian lifestyle, and she's lately been eating a little bit more meats with the second pregnancy. But she's also milling her own flour now. I mean, think about that. And I've had the bread. Believe me, she likes to make it. I like to eat it. The bread is amazing without the preservatives in it, without the stuff, and it just tastes so good, man. And so good stuff. Ron Fuller in studio with us, Tri-County Metals, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's the business development manager there. Ron, final thoughts. Back to you, man.
So when you're selling your home, if you have a metal roof, add 6% to the value of your home versus your neighbors with a shingle roof.
Wow.
Absolutely. So that's one thing that, if you're one of the metal roof homes in your neighborhood and your whole neighborhood isn't a metal roof, or you're not in a condominium, so in other words, you're one of the few metal roofs within your community, make sure you're getting that extra value that your roof adds. It adds 6%.
Yeah, there's your realtor commissions there.
Yeah, that's 6%. A great, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Ron Fuller, thanks for coming in, my friend. I appreciate it. TriCountyMetals.com. Everybody, make sure you introduce your roofer to Ron, and reach out to the show hotline, 813-917-1894. Any questions you have, comments, introductions, if you'd like us to put you in touch with Ron, 813-917-1894. Coming up, Gunnar Bernecki, Guardian Protection, Home Automation, and Home Security. We're going to talk with him coming up next. Also, feel-good story of the day. We got a teen here with a rare tumor, gets marathon facial surgery, delivering results in 7 hours instead of several years. Feel-good story coming up. Quick break, right back.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rimes here for AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. My wife and I shifted a lot of our buying habits, and we wanted to support companies that support our values, patriotic, Christian conservative companies. And you can find that online at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Now, what you're doing is you're not spending any new money. You're simply buying a lot of the common purchases that you're buying every month for the kitchen, the bathroom, your shampoos, your laundry detergent, all types of great essential oils, vitamins, herbs, those types of products. And for you beef lovers, we have great beef products as well. Tenderloin, sirloin steaks, grass-fed beef available as well. So check out AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. And I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions about it. There's also a business opportunity there for you as well. 813-917-1894. And thank you so much for supporting our company, AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon Rimes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, always helping you win in your real estate deals. You know what I'd like to tell you a little bit more than real estate is I like to tell you something good. I like to do our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, you got a 16-year-old named Bruce Yamate faced a life-altering diagnosis when a rare aggressive tumor in his jaw threatened his ability to eat, smile, and speak, undergoing a groundbreaking jaw-in-a-day surgery led by Dr. Chi Viet and Dr. Paul Walker. He had the tumor removed and his jaw reconstructed using bone from his leg. The procedure was a success, and now Yamate is looking forward to enjoying food again and a newfound appreciation for life. There you have it, our feel-good story of the day. Wow, teen with a rare tumor gets marathon facial surgery, delivering results in 7 hours instead of several years. Wow, what a real cool story. I love that. You know, the feel-good stories, and hats off to those doctors. And that kind of reminds me of the Dr. Ben Carson story. If you haven't seen that movie they did about him, what an amazing story, right, Todd? With the it was two twins, I think, that were joined. I mean, they were joined head, and they may have shared organs or something. It was just an amazing story. But if you haven't seen Dr. Ben Carson's movie, you should definitely pull that one up and check it out. All right, we got a hot listing here at 5444 90th Avenue Circle East. This one's over in Parrish, Florida. We're talking about South Hillsborough County, East Hillsborough County, down there in Parrish. Beautiful property, 5444 90th Avenue Circle East, Parrish, Florida. Another one of our beautiful listings. We've got about 60 current listings from the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car garage, 2,600 square foot single family home. You're on the pond here. You got a waterfront property here. 0.36 acre lot. You have a screened-in pool and a great opportunity, conservation view, beautiful home right here in Tampa Bay. 5444 90th Avenue Circle East in Parrish, Florida. Beautiful property. Nice floor plan, split floor plan. You got a roof, newer roof in 2021. The roof was installed, and a great opportunity to own real estate in Tampa Bay. 1700 Highland Club Court. Another one of our listings here. This one is another opportunity for you in Palm Harbor, Pinellas County. Affordable home, kind of an entry-level 1,200 square foot villa, wide open spaces and cathedral ceilings. And you also have a new roof here as well in January 2025. You have updated HVAC and others, additional features. You have also Highland Lakelands community, a vibrant 55-plus neighborhood. Free pontoon boat ride on Lake Tarpon, also in the community pool. 1700 Highland Club Court, Palm Harbor. You can see all of our real estate listings, and if you're buying, selling, investing, or thinking about making some moves in real estate or mortgage, we would love to talk to you. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, I wanted to kind of give you an update here on the real estate side. We're waiting on Gunnar to pick up. He's having trouble connecting, but Gunnar Bernecki for all your home security automation. Pasco County, I'm going to go over the Pasco County stats since we looked at Pinellas County earlier and Hillsborough County earlier. When you're thinking about real estate, one of the things that you want to consider is what is the amount of competition? What are we looking at competition-wise? Well, in Pasco County right now, what you have for non-distressed single families, you have 4,160 active listings. Okay, you divide that number out, that's about 900 solds. That gives us a 21.4% absorption rate. That's a new low. Okay, that is a new low on the absorption rate, meaning how quickly the properties are being sold. and bought up off the market. 4.7 months supply of inventory. That's a new high. Okay, we're trending towards that new high. But you heard Ray Hall, that is, earlier today talking about the spring selling season. We're going into that spring selling season. So those numbers should be normalizing a little bit more, coming down, and we are coming off of 2 hurricanes, of course. But what's interesting, if you compare that data, okay, so again, Pasco County, single-family homes, 4,100 plus properties active. If you compare that to March of 22, there were 665 properties. That's a difference of 3,495 actives. So in other words, buyers have 6 times more options today than they did back in March of 2022. Now, that was the high water mark. Back in March of 22, that's where you hear the stories about multiple offers, out of sight, offers, people buying before they even see the properties, and maybe they had someone go over there and put a cell phone on them or something like that, a FaceTime video. But yeah, so that's what you want to think about. You want to think about competition. And I want to remind you as well, with our team, buying, selling, investing, we love to help you if you are buying, selling, investing. I got my mortgage loan origination license again, so we can help you on the mortgage side. We also have great partners with the radio talk show that you can speak with on the mortgage side as well. But there's a program called the 203H. Now, this is an interesting program. And I think little known program. So I want to get the word out here. 203H, anyone affected with a natural disaster, could be a tenant, could be an owner. If you live in a single family home or a structure that, an apartment or condo, townhome, whatever was affected, if you live in that and you were affected by a natural disaster, you can buy 100% financing. You can obtain 100% financing through the FHA, through the federal government. They're going to help you get 100% financing. If you were affected, you can't live in that home anymore, this is what the program is for. And that's an example of government funds being used appropriately. That's an example of, a common sense loan. Let's help the people out that were affected with fires in California, with flooding in Tennessee and the Carolinas, with, of course, locally here on the Gulf Coast of Florida, with these terrible hurricanes and storms that affected us, with floods, rising waters. Let's help those folks out. So that's called the 203H loan program. Anybody affected with a natural disaster, and of course you have to qualify for those loans. You have to have income. You have to have what they call capacity to repay. But once you do, hey, what a great opportunity to get into a home with little money out of pocket, and maybe you structure some seller concessions there. Who knows, potentially, if that is available, but. I got another clip I wanted to get to here as well.
They want the foreigners to become voters, and so one of the ways that they allow them to stay is through the theft of legitimate or once legitimate Social Security numbers. Here is Caroline Levitt on the fraud that is being uncovered at the Social Security Administration. It's in every single agency, and no one has thought to even look at it. You work your tail off to pay your taxes. You're a carpenter, you're a welder, you're a teacher, you're a retiree, you're a financial manager, you're a truck driver, you're an Uber driver, whatever you are, you're a hairdresser, massage.
Okay, so yeah, when you think about this, we've all seen the stats. We've seen the social media posts about all of these extra social security numbers that are floating around out there, and if you really analyze that data. Some of the people I was talking, one of my friends, he said something like 1880. This person would have been born in 1880 that's still alive in 2025, right? So we know there's a lot of bad numbers. And by the way, what does that say to our voter rolls in a lot of cases, right? What does that say to our voter rolls? But when you analyze that, and I love what Charlie Kirk is saying here on the front of that, is that they have a black market, these nefarious actors in our country, that is teaching people how to access those security numbers, those social security numbers that they can get away with. But anyways, yeah, and they're using it for the illegals coming through, maybe getting them registered to vote. That was the plan, and thank God Trump won, and otherwise our country would be heading down in this endless spiral of waste, fraud, and abuse that luckily Elon Musk and his team are finding. So, hey, we'd love to help you buying, selling, or investing. I'm Brandon Rimes. Reach out 813-917-1894, online at consumerqb.com, 813-917-1894. That is my direct dial, cell or text, 813-917-1894. Call if you would like any connections to all of our expert contributors, and maybe you want to talk a little real estate, talk a little sports, talk mortgage financing. We can help you with that too. Hey, another great show. We had Ray Hall, Ron Fuller, and we were expecting Gunner. He couldn't quite make it, but we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.